about this before, haven't we, Greg? There's been no growth in real median consumer income for decades. That means that people have no growth in their income, so they can't spend more. And not only do they have no growth in income, but the prices are rising faster than are acknowledged. All you got to do is go to the grocery store and watch them. They go up by the week. And so the people's real income is falling. So when you have a population with falling real income, there can be no growth in consumer demand. Now, the other thing that they could substitute for a lack of growth in consumer demand is a growth in consumer debt, a buildup in consumer credit. But that can't happen either. Greenspan already used that up when he was the Fed chairman. So people now have so much debt they can't take on anymore. And so you can't expand consumer credit, consumer debt. The income doesn't expand. So how is consumer demand going to grow? It can't. And if it can't grow, the economy can't grow. It's that simple. So what can the Fed do? It can't do anything. It can print more money. Eventually, that money is going to get into the economy and drive up prices. So you're going to have no ability to buy anything but rising prices, hyperinflation. They've created a perfect storm. There's no really way out for the Fed. Well, it'll be
hey, aren't a lot of things just going to go under?
See, this may be, they even expect this. This may explain the militarization of the police. It may explain why the Department of Homeland Security now has the power to take over local police departments. It may explain all these reports of Halliburton giving contracts to build detention centers. It may be that the people running this show understand that it's not working and that the result is going to be social and economic dislocation and political dislocation and a very unstable system. And so this may be the reason. I mean, why else do you have police departments armed like armed forces? No one has ever explained this. No one has ever said why even small-town police departments need tanks and rocket-propelled grenades and helicopters and night vision and all these, and drones. And no one has ever explained it. And the media doesn't ask the question. The Congress doesn't say, well, what's going on? Why are we doing this? But the military has been feeding all these weapon systems into state and local police forces. I mean, I've even seen little communities in which everybody in the community is a millionaire, and they got SWAT teams that are dressed out like SEAL professional soldiers. You know, it's not sensible. There's no reason for it, and there's no explanation. No one ever says why this is happening. Why? And also the attitude of the police toward the public. We see how violent their attitude is. The attitude is that comply or die. Do exactly what we tell you, you're a dead man. And this is, for somebody in my generation, this is unheard of. The police weren't ever allowed to behave like that. But now there's this constant violence. They shoot people for no reason. They taser them. They throw 95-year-old people on the ground and break their necks. They put 4-year-olds in handcuffs. It's an incredible situation. It's this massive abuse of the population. That's not explained. Nobody explains it. And in fact, it's very underreported. Every now and then something makes the national news, like Ferguson. But most of these things never get beyond local reporting. So in general, the population, the American population, doesn't know how extensive it is. They only know if it happened in their town. But they don't know that at the same time it happened in the town, it happened in 100 other towns at the same time.
And you think they know it's going to crash?
But there has to be some reason for this brutal behavior on the part of the police. They had to be trained to that because they didn't used to be like that. You know, an encounter with the police now can be deadly. I mean, just a routine traffic stop, you can end up beat up, tasered, killed.
Well, they're not all like that. I mean, they're not.
Where they all
are. The public isn't
are.
very kind to police there, Dr. Roberts. The public is pretty belligerent to police.
No.
So.
No. Greg, this is absolutely new. This kind of brutal treatment of police toward the public, this is new. And the militarization of the police, this is new. I mean, it's been going on now for a decade.
Well, the Washington Post did a bunch of stories about how the cops were out looking for, in certain states, looking for people traveling so they could take cash. Do you have any cash? The Washington Post did a big thing about that, about how police department. That is new. You're correct about that. That's for sure.
But no, all of this is new.
But you say they know that this is a crash coming.
Old people. I mean, what in the world? It's absurd. They would have all been indicted and put on trial in my day. Nothing like this could have happened.
And you're saying the powers that be.
You have to ask yourself, what is the reason for all this? And nobody asked. It's like you were saying, you're already defending them. Oh, the public's belligerent. The public is not. They're scared to death of these guys. They're absolutely terrified of them. I know some people now absolutely will not drive in their car from one town to the next. So there's no belligerence.
Well, I hate to paint everybody with a broad brush. It's my only thing. I just want to be fair. Some cops aren't like that. Some are, I guess.
But if they aren't, they're going to be removed. I hear from them all the time. They say you have to go along with us. It's training. They're actually training teams that train them this way. They are intentionally being trained this way. There are reports of this. It's out there. You ought to go study it and do a report on it, and get some of the people on who have monitored this training and written about it. It's really happening. It's not painting anything with a broad brush. It's telling you what's going on. It's exactly what's going on, just like everything else that I say is going on.
And you're saying that the powers that be, and you've been on the inside of the financial, you think it all comes down to a financial, they want to maintain power. They know that the things aren't working, the economy's not working, even though all the Baghdad Bob, reports that, yes, it's working. You're saying that the powers know full well this is going to implode, and they're planning for it.
Greg, I'm saying this would be one explanation. We can't know until somebody tries to find out. And nobody's trying to find out. The press doesn't want to know. Congress doesn't want to know. But as I said, it's very unusual to have local police forces equipped like military. There's no reason for it.
Yes, they are. That is a fact, even right.
And so we're not given the explanation for that. That's my point. And so one possible explanation is that they realize that they ruined the socio-economic system. First, they sent all the middle-class jobs offshore, so nobody can get a middle-class employment. The middle class is shrinking, so the buffer between the poor and the rich is being destroyed. They're destroying the buffer between the poor and themselves. This has to be destabilizing. And the economy can't come back no matter how much money they print and give to the banks. And so, yeah, they may have decided, hey, this isn't going to work, and the whole thing's going to blow up, and we've got to have some way to sit on it. So that would be one explanation. I don't know that it is, but it's the only thing I can come up with. We won't know unless somebody tries to find out. And so we should sort of encourage them to find out, not try to push it away under a rock somewhere.